We have all these and more coming shortly. Do stay with us. This evening, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta is expected to present the mid-year review of the 2022 budget estimates next Wednesday, the 13th of July. Now, this is the date that the Ministry of Finance has proposed to, subject to Parliament's approval. But will there be a supplementary budget on the table? George Rafi's report explains.
Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta is going to Parliament for this exercise because the country's Financial Administration Act requires that he updates Parliament on the macroeconomic situation not less than 31st July each financial year, which has been christened the Mid-Year Fiscal Policy Review. The minister is expected to tell Parliament how we've performed for the first 6 months of this year, especially when it comes to our revenue situation, as the numbers for the first quarter of this year show that things were not looking that good. There were initial reports that the government may consider a supplementary budget, but our checks indicate that there is nothing on the table for now. The mid-year review will also update Parliament on the expenditure targets, inflation rate, and the growth rate numbers, and whether current developments on the international market should force the minister to adjust the end-of-year projections. Joy Business understands that the proposed program with the IMF will not influence this mid-year review, but rather the 2023 budget that we presented to Parliament in November this year. A cabinet meeting today may give us some clear understanding as to whether the finance minister may outline some new policy measures before the end of this year in the mid-year review that will be presented to Parliament.
Meanwhile, an associate professor of finance at the Andrews University School of Business, William Sepra, says he looks forward to a supplementary budget from the finance minister, which spells out planned cuts in government expenditure as well as a new revenue mobilization measure. He spoke earlier on the marketplace.
Authorities should understand that where we have gotten to is very, very critical for us as a country. They already have seen the first quarter numbers, and which is indicating that our revenue that we generated couldn't even pay our interest payments. And then also it's really affecting our balance of payments. So if you look at the purpose for this 1 billion syndication loan, of this is going to support our balance of payment, and then 750 will be supporting our budgets. If they don't give government approval on this particular loan, the country is going to really suffer.
But don't they have the point when they talk about our debt portfolio going up?
I mean, we have already gotten to the brim, but we are not getting in any additional revenue to come in. And we need the money now and not to delay.
Minority in Parliament is vowing to resist the government's attempts to have Parliament approve a $1 billion syndicated loan currently before it. Government is seeking $750 million from the Afrexim Bank and $250 million from a syndication of banks to finance the 2022 budget. But according to Professor William Sepra, the country's woes will deepen if the minority goes ahead with the resistance.
Minority should understand that where we have gotten to is very, very critical for us as a country. They already have seen the first quarter numbers, and which is indicating that our revenue that we generated couldn't even pay our interest payments. And then also, it's really affecting our balance of payments. So if you look at the purpose for this 1 billion syndication loan, of this is going to support our balance of payment, and then 750 will be supporting our budgets. If they don't give government approval on this particular loan, the country is going to really suffer.
But don't they have the point when they talk about our debt portfolio going up?
I mean, we have already gotten to the brim, but we are not getting in any additional revenue to come in. And we need the money now and not to delay.
Away from that, some good news from the tourism sector, which is still recovering from the impact of COVID. An amount of $10 million has been allocated to the Ghana Tourism Development Project by the World Bank. Now, the aim of the grant is to support and build the capacity of operators in the hospitality and tourism sector. President Akufo-Addo was at the ceremony to unveil the grant. We'll hear from him, plus the World Bank Country Director, Pierre Laporte.
Development of entrepreneurship has the potential to contribute to specific development objectives, such as the employment of women and the youth. It is in this direction that the government, through the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, is in this year supporting SMEs in the tourism, hospitality, and creative arts sector with a grant of $10 million United States dollars to enhance and expand their businesses. The grants will assist operators in the sector modernize and improve tourist sites, restaurants, tour operations, event organization, and related businesses to become attractive and competitive.
We at the World Bank, we believe that it is a perfect blend between developing public sites and the right capital injection into the private sector SMEs, backed by adequate marketing drive traffic to Ghana that will result in the ultimate growth of the tourism sector in the country. In this period of global economic crisis, it is the right time to take calculated and strategic steps to review and grow our economies. Indeed, it is the time for development partners to show good faith with struggling economies. The World Bank Group stands resolute and prepared to go the long haul with countries like Ghana. And I urge players within the tourism value chain to reciprocate this gesture from the bank toward the tourism development project by ensuring demonstrable results at the end of the day. This will be the only motivating factor that will keep the project going.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Tourism Federation, GATOF, has bemoaned the non-involvement of private sector players in the disbursement of funds within the sector. According to its Executive Secretary, Emmanuel Frimpong, private sector stakeholders play a major role in promoting the sector.
That is always the challenge. And we've been talking about this for, only God knows when we started this whole grant. Unfortunately, the private sector is normally not consulted. And in this situation, the same thing, the private sector was not consulted. So you don't really know who even gets the money. We were told that last year, 2021, about 1,400 SMEs received their money. We don't know who. You ask members, of course, we know some received. But you ask, and the number of people that tell you that they received is nowhere near the 1,400. So you don't really know who received and who didn't. And if you look at the impact that you would expect 10 million Ghana cedis would have on our sector, that is not the impact that we see. So we are hoping that this time round, even though we've not been consulted, going forward, whoever the grant manager is, whoever is in charge of it, will involve the private sector so that we can actually identify areas that will really make the necessary impact in the sector, not just giving monies out, but areas that will really begin to make some impact.
Away from that, a research scientist, Dr. Richard Ampedu-Ameyaw, has indicated that genetically modified organisms have played major roles in addressing challenges in the agri sector. According to him, commercializing GMOs will help address the rising food prices, growing food import bill, as well as the impact of climate change. Speaking at a training for journalists on GMOs, Dr. Ampedu-Ameyaw urged journalists to help propagate the benefits of adapting biotechnology.
Alliance for Science, in partnership with the Ghana Agricultural Rural Development Journalists Association, Open Forum on Agricultural Biotechnology in Africa, the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, and the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture organized a workshop to educate journalists on genetically modified organisms and other forms of biotechnologies. Senior research scientist with CSIR, Dr. Richard Ampedu-Ameyaw, charged journalists to engage the right authority with matters regarding GMOs to ensure accurate reportage.
GMO has a future in Ghana, in the sense that if you look at the statistics of those countries which are actually growing the GM, I mean, there's nothing that is different from what they are doing is different from Ghana. We are just beginning, and we believe that it has a future. It has a future because if we look at the GMOs and the promises that it gives us in terms of resolving the issues of poverty, resolving the issues of malnutrition, resolving the issues of hunger, and other income issues of farmers. GMO contributes to the solution of most of our problems because we talk of low incomes, we talk of slow production, we talk of low productivity of crop, and GM has that ability to help us improve our agriculture in those sectors. We will never say that it is the panacea, but it is contributing to the issues that we have.
Plant breeder with the CSIR Savannah Agricultural Research Institute, Dr. Richard Oten-Frimpong, lectured the journalists on the basics of GMOs and its importance to the agricultural sector.
The technology is one of the tools in the toolbox of a plant breeder, and it allows the plant breeder to access a host of other beneficial traits. So in this case, we are able to overcome the barrier that is imposed by sexuality. So we are able to assess traits in other organisms that naturally are not available to us.
Executive member of the Alliance for Science, Robin Kwenu, explained the rationale behind organizing a workshop for journalists on biotechnology.
Alliance for Science Ghana is a science-based organization that basically our work is to help journalists and even science communicators understand the work that scientists are doing across the country. And basically, this workshop looked at a few of the crops that scientists are working on in terms of the BT, cowpea, and then the newest rice. And the idea behind the workshop is to bring journalists together, bring writers together, and then educate them, and then teach them how and what is going on the lab, and how to go about their report. Because the truth of the matter is, when it comes to reporting of GMs and its activities across the country, it's very scanty. Secondly, there's a lot of perception around the work of GM in the country. So for us, we think that the message is that it is time for us to tell proper stories around the GM technology. It is time to forget about public perceptions and use the facts to tell your stories.
About 30 media practitioners from across the country participated in the training.
I take it now to Downing Street because the resignation of UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson has sent shockwaves to global geopolitics and the economy following his influential role in global peace and economic stability. Now, here in Ghana, the footprint of Mr. Johnson on bilateral trade is worth noting. Under his regime, we saw the establishment of specific trade missions to Ghana and economic programs worth £120 billion in the span of 9 years. Could all these gains be wiped away amid Boris's resignation? Well, Marian Duris is a foreign policy expert in the United Kingdom. He tells Joy Business the PM's resignation could cause a shock in the continuity of trade relations in the short term.
In the short term, this will cause a shock in some continuity of relations, but it is possible that a much better and more capable leader will come. ideally one that can appreciate the enormous potential, and not only of Ghana, but also of other African countries. The leader who can act on the basis of equality and the value of partnership, which brings about a foreign policy setting that is long-lasting and goes beyond the election period. But to return to the business itself, those relations are relatively well set, structured, and in no danger of a major shake-up. If the Ghanaian leadership uses this time until a new leader is elected in Downing Street, it just takes a few simple things: pragmatism, re-evaluation of relationships and their benefits, elimination of risks, and I think there are many interesting ones among the potential candidate names. If the Ghanaian leadership does a great job of geopolitical and geoeconomic analysis, they can at least stabilize this trade volume. And if some, for Ghana, interesting name got into the office of British Prime Minister, volume of these trade relations could even intensify. It's all about setting your foreign policy, setting priorities, standards, and mutual benefit on a bilateral basis. Economic ties between the United Kingdom and Ghana were boosted many times through the years. For example, new strategic partnership agreement in areas like economic development, stability, and regional security and health and education. There was interim trade partnership agreement on Tuesday, 2 March 2020, concluding on negotiations that began in March 2018. Agreement was signed to facilitate the building of trading relationship to the tune of about £1.2 billion. And we must remind the UK-Ghana Business Council, met in London in May of this year, the formation of the UK-Ghana Investors Group, made up of investors and business leaders with the aim of creating investment opportunities. On the other side, the UK is indirectly helping to support the erosion of some states in Africa, an extension of grievances which are embedded in protracted conflicts, but also enables groups to flourish and capitalize on existing community grievances and governance structures.
Now, the Youth Challenge International, through its Head Start program, is set to train and offer business services to about 10,000 young women across Ghana, Tanzania, and Uganda. The intervention is to help improve the economic well-being of women who are marginalized. The intervention will increase their access to economic opportunities and resources, which are expected to help shape their own futures. Here's more.
International Head Start program aims to build an enabling environment for social innovation and women's social enterprise development. Over the 7 years period, the Youth Challenge International and Global Affairs Canada will invest $6 million Canadian and the capacity of 135 volunteers to support women in Ghana. Speaking at the Catalyst Fund Award ceremony to honor 10 girls, the country project lead Osmond Wisdom Kwanzaa said YCI is partnering government to address the gender inequality gap and youth unemployment.
How to Innovate the Future is an initiative designed by Youth Challenge International in partnership with leading global organizations, NOSA, and Ghana Technical University, with the goal to foster and create innovative solutions for a more equitable and prosperous economy within Ghana, Tanzania, and Uganda. YCI has an aim to build an enabling environment for social innovation and women's social enterprise development, while increasing awareness of and support for social ventures. The theme for this event is Women Economic Empowerment through Social Entrepreneurship. YCI utilizes an economic empowerment approach as an entry point to addressing gender-based violence, protecting women's human rights, and promoting leadership among young women.
The Northern Regional Minister, Shani Alhassan Shaibu, said the initiative has come at the right time and urged the beneficiaries to put to good use the money given them.
It's really a great initiative, and I would like to applaud the Youth Challenge International for the introduction of such the real change for women women's rights starts with women themselves, and it can only be meaningful and sustainable if there are women leaders. Empowerment of women entrepreneurs is an innovative success mantra for the development of the Ghanaian economy. Let me use this opportunity to say a big congratulations to all those who have been chosen. My word of advice to this is to judicious use of the funds that will be given.
And that'll be it for Prime Business. I'll leave you with international business news, which we have Prime Sports with George Addo Jr. and the team. Do stay with us.